Hey y'all, it's Megan. If you're returning to my channel, welcome back, and if you're new, welcome aboard. So today is another Disney Storytime video, everyone's favorite. Today I'm going to be talking about, I've contemplated what to call this. Self-righteous is kind of where I'm landing on it, but kind of entitled, that kind of thing, that's what I'm going with. Yeah, just three little stories about some guests that were kind of demanding when I worked at the Jungle Cruise. So I'm going to start off with one about a kid. If you have not seen my videos about funny parent-kid interactions and kids saying funny things, I'm going to link those up there and down in the description, because kids at Disney World are just like, they're gold. Some of the interactions you have and the experiences you have are just fantastic, because kids are just little beacons of truth and they will just say it how it is, and they're hilarious. But sometimes, as those lovely little children get older, as we approach the teenage years, sometimes they get a little snarky, they get a little angsty, and they get a little demanding. I'm not sure why he was by himself. He was definitely not old enough to be just like roaming around Disney World by himself. When I worked there, I didn't think that I was old enough to be roaming around by myself. But he was about 12 or 13. So right in that really awesome age where you just love life. I was at Fastpass return. That was the position that I was at. And back in the day, before we had Fastpass Plus, that entire position was you just stand there at the doorway at the Fastpass return entrance, and people would walk by and they would show you their Fastpass tickets, and you would look at them and make sure that it was for the current time window. You know, if it was 2:15, make sure that the time frame was somewhere that included 2:15, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you know, whatever. And as long as that was the case, then you're like, come on in, and they go in and then they give that actual ticket to someone farther up in there. But I was standing there, hey, welcome to the Jungle Cruise. Yes, you have a fast pass for this time, come on in. And this kid comes by and he tried to walk by without showing me his fast pass. And I'm like, hey bud, like, can I see your fast pass? And he does like this, shoves it right in my face so I can't see anything. I'm like, can you take it out of my corneas? I looked at it and I was like, actually, your Fastpass return time isn't for another 25 minutes, and I can let you in a few minutes early, but not just yet. We've got a really long line, and I have to really limit it to the actual window that their Fastpass is. So why don't you go just, you know, grab something else real quick, go grab a snack or something, and then you can come back and we'll get you right in. And he just completely ignored me and just like tried to walk by, and I'm like, hey. Like, I thought I just explained this. I was like, you gotta come back in 20 minutes. And he's like, no, I need to go in now. And I was like, you can't. I mean, if you want to go in right now, like, you can go get in the regular line, but we can't really just let everyone who wants to get in the Fastpass line early, like by that much early, we can't just let everyone just get in, otherwise then the Fastpasses don't mean anything. And he goes, but I lost my hat. And I'm like, what are we talking about? And so he says, my hat fell off. I just rode and my hat fell off. So now I got a fast pass to come back so I can go ride again and get my hat. And I'm like, I am following now. And I'm like, well, if you dropped your hat in the water, I was like, what kind of hat was it? And he said it was a baseball cap. And I'm like, okay. Well, if it's floating around the water out there somewhere, then someone is going to grab it and bring it back. You can run over to the exit over there, find someone who's dressed in the peanut butter colored outfit. That's what we always told people when they were looking for a coordinator. We're like, find someone in peanut butter. And I was like, find one of them and ask them to look in the lost and found, make sure that no one has like just grabbed it and brought it back, and make sure it's not over there. So he goes over there, comes back, he goes, no, it's not. And I was like, okay, well, this is a problem, because a couple of things. First of all, you're not allowed to like reach out of the boat. So even if I let you in right now and you went and you got on the boat and you saw your hat, you're not allowed to like lean out and reach and grab it. Odds are that with the boats coming through, the wakes are going to have pushed it far away. You're not going to be able to reach it anyway. Second problem is, if it's a baseball cap, it's going to absorb the water and it's probably at the bottom of our river. So you're probably not going to see it anyway. And he's like, no, it's going to be out there. And he just keeps trying to push past me and just and I'm like, okay, but your hat is not going to be there. You're not allowed to reach it. I can't, knowing what you want to do, I can't tell you go on in and go and like lean your body out of the Jungle Cruise boat and grab the hat, because it's a danger for lots of different reasons and we can't have it happening. So I can't let you do that. And he just keeps pushing, like physically like pushing on me at this point. And I am not a big person. So even though he's only like 12, 13 years old, he's bigger than I am, because I am 5 feet tall. So he's pushing up on me, and one of the other skippers comes and like gives me rotation. So I now have to go get on a boat and leave this poor person out there. And so I'm not sure exactly how that transpired, because I had to go get on a boat. I asked later the skipper that took over, I was like, so did you let that kid in or whatever? Like, heck no, he was so rude. He just kept getting in my face and yelling. So I don't know if that kid got his hat back. I would venture to say probably not, because if it's a fabric cotton baseball cap sitting in water, probably is now residing somewhere at the bottom of the Jungle Cruise River. I don't know that to be a fact, but I know that when I got on the boat and I went around, I did not see a hat. So whether he actually lost a hat or he just for some reason was desperate to get on the Jungle Cruise again, I don't know. But you can't just start pushing up on cast members and expect to get through when it's not your Fastpass time. That was the only kid kind of person that was ever demanding. Most of the time kids were absolute joys, and this kid wasn't even that bad. He was just a little bit pushy. But now we get into some parents unfortunately are usually the ones who are pushy, and I've mentioned before that it's really probably not how they are. It's probably just a combination of the stress and the heat and the everything going on. It's overwhelming to be at Disney World, but sometimes people just do some things that you're like, really? Let's not be so demanding. Let's not be so self-righteous here. But we had one lady who, I was at wheelchair assist, so I'm pushing ECVs out of the way once people have unloaded from them and, you know, transferred into the boats. So I'm trying to get these things out of the way, and this lady comes over and she taps me on the shoulder. She goes, "Excuse me." And I was like, oh dear, that's a good tone. I like that. We're starting off well. And I was like, "Hi, what can I do for you?" And she says, "I just needed to file a complaint with someone because whoever is over there doing the loading onto the boat, they're not very good and they really should not have this job." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. What happened? Do you need to talk to a coordinator?" And she goes, "No, I'll just tell you. I just need someone to know so that they can talk to them. I have back problems." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'm so sorry." And I specifically told the people when I was getting in the boat, I have back problems and I would like to sit somewhere that's not going to exacerbate my back problems. And they sat me in the middle when I specifically did not want to sit in the middle. And I was like, okay. And I'm trying in my mind to think of a nice way to say what I was thinking, because if she does have back problems, then that's excruciating and I'm so sorry for her, and I hope that the rest of the day went smoothly for her. But at the Jungle Cruise, there are options for where you can sit. You can either sit on the sides around the edge of the boat, or you can sit in the very center. That's it. There's a U around the boat's perimeter, and then there's crates in the middle. The crates in the middle have no backrest. So I'm assuming in her mind she was thinking, the stuff in the middle doesn't have anywhere for me to lean, and it's going to make my back hurt more because I'm not being supported. And I suppose depending on the type of back problems that she experienced, that could be the case. However, speaking as someone who has ridden the Jungle Cruise many, many, many times and sat both places, the middle is the only place I would want to sit if I had my preference, especially if my back hurt, because where the edge of the boat lands is right here. And that boat rocks. And every time you rock, you slam into the side of the boat, unless you have abs of steel and you don't move at all when, you know, the object that you are on is moving. So I was trying very hard to think of a way to say to this woman, if your back is already hurting, they really did you a favor, because if you sit on the edge, all you're gonna do is slam up against the side and it's gonna hurt. Then I said, if you'd like to ride again, I can take you over and get you, you know, we can get you on this next boat if you'd like to ride again and sit in a different spot. But I will tell you that, in my personal opinion, sitting on the edge hurts my back more than sitting in the middle. So if your back is hurting, I wouldn't recommend doing that. But like I said, if you would like to ride again, that's no problem. We can get you right back on. And she was like, no, that's fine. I don't usually do things like this. I really don't. But I needed to tell somebody, because whoever that is just really, really not listening, and they are not customer service minded. And I was like, I'm really sorry, and I will, I'll definitely let someone know that you have that concern. And she's like, okay, thank you. And she left. So I maybe she just needed to get it off her chest. I don't know. I did talk to the skipper. It was one of my friends. I was like, hey, did this lady like say anything about needing to sit somewhere? And they were like, no. She just like huffed when we told her where to sit, but there wasn't any request for a specific seat, because I've mentioned before, if you make a specific request for a seat, 9 times out of 10 we're gonna be like, yeah, sure, just wait over to the side for me and we'll get you exactly where you want to sit. It's not a big deal. It is not a problem at all. So I had a feeling that was just, she just needed to vent, and that's what that was. My last demanding, self-righteous, pushy guest is, in my opinion, one of the worst. I'm still not completely over this situation. I still think about it sometimes. And it wasn't anything to do with me. They didn't push me around or anything like that. I just think about the situation. And it happened again at Fastpass return. I had people come through with the guest assistance cards and need alternate entrances, or they need shaded areas, whatever, just the cards. Well, this guy comes by and he has a pin, like this is my happily ever after one for my anniversary, but he has the blue one that says Make-A-Wish on it, that every Make-A-Wish family has. They all have the pins that they wear as their group, and he's wearing that, and he comes and he just tries to walk in, and I was like, oh, hi, did you have a Fastpass? And he says no, and he kind of does like this with his button and like shows it to me, and I'm like, okay, I see your button. And I'm assuming that the Make-A-Wish child is somewhere, they're parking a stroller, or they're parking a wheelchair or something like that, and he's just ahead of everyone else. So I said, how many are in your party? And he said, oh, it's just me. And I didn't know how to respond to that, because you don't get to just benefit from your child being sick. There's really no other way for me to say that. I asked where the child was. I was like, where's the Make-A-Wish member of your family? And he said, oh, she's over there on the carpets. I just didn't want to ride that, so I figured I'd just come over here. And I said, well, that's fine. I was like, this is actually just the Fastpass return, so the standby's right over here. And he goes, well, no, I still want to use her card, but she has it, so like I figured I could just use the button. And as nicely as I could, I said, that card is really for her benefit, to make sure that she gets to experience as much as she possibly can. It's not really meant to be split up and used by separate individual members of the family. So when she's off the carpets, if the rest of the group wants to come over and you all ride together, that will be awesome, and we'll be thrilled to have you over here. I was like, but I can't let just you in, just based on the fact that you are part of a Make-A-Wish group. And he got like really huffy, and I understand that it is a extraordinarily difficult time for any family that is in that situation, but the idea that he wanted to just leave his daughter by herself doing something else, and he was okay just like going off and doing his own thing without her, really bothered me. And like, I wasn't rude or in his face about it or anything, but I did have to say, this is not for you. This is for your family, and you need to all be doing this together. And it's really meant for her to have a magical time, and this is her wish. So I would love to see her when she gets off of Aladdin's carpets, but we can't do it like this. So yeah, that was one that he was a little bit indignant that I wasn't gonna just let him just kind of slide by because of the situation that they're in. So sorry to end that like kind of on a sad note. Those were a few of my little story times about guests who were a little bit pushy, or maybe they were a little bit entitled, felt like they were owed something while they were at Disney World. Yeah, so when you go to Disney World, just go and have fun. Don't feel like you need to push people around to try to get something extra or to get by with something or anything like that. Just go and have a good time, dang it. So that's what Disney is for, right? So if you have had any experiences like that, if you're a cast member and you've had some pushy guests, or you work in any service industry, bless you. I'm sure, especially in like food service industries, you have some absolute horror stories about people who are pushy and entitled, and I just, props to you for being awesome. That's it for today. Let me know your stories down below if you have any, and if you have any suggestions for future Storytime videos or any information about Disney, any history, trivia, stuff like that. If you're interested in any of that, let me know those, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, y'all.